Jolfa, Azerbaijani, Culfa, formerly Jugha, Armenian, sometimes transliterated as Jugha, is the administrative capital of the Julfa District of the Nakhchivan Autonomous Republic in Azerbaijan. Jolfa is separated by the Aras River from its namesake, the town of Jolfa on the Iranian side of the border. The two towns are linked by a road bridge and a railway bridge. Traditionally, the king of Armenia, Tigranzite, was said to have been the founder of Jolfa. Existing as a village in the early Middle Ages, it grew into a town between the 10th and 13th centuries, with a population that was almost entirely Armenian. For a time, Jolfa was one of the most important settlements in medieval Armenia. It became prosperous during the 15th to the 17th centuries due to the role it played in international trade, as it was located along the ancient trade routes from Persia, the Middle East, Southeast Asia, India, to Russia, the Mediterranean, and Northwest Europe. In 1603, during the Ottoman-Safavid War, 1603 to 1618, Shah Abbas I of Persia retook Jolfa from the Ottoman Empire and was seen as a liberator by its Armenian population. However, Abbas had realized that he was unable to defend the territory along the Aras River from incursions by the Ottomans. His solution was to evacuate the region, undertaking a scorched earth policy to prevent its wealth and population falling into Ottoman hands. In October 1605, the Shah issued an edict declaring that the entire population of Jolfa must leave their homes and move deep into the Persian Empire. According to 17th century chronicler Arakel of Tabriz, the edict stated that they had 3 days to leave or face being massacred. Another eyewitness, Augustus Bajetsi, Bishop of Nakhchivan, wrote, "The Persians entered the Armenian villages like thunder from the sky. We left houses full of goods, the herds in the fields, the entire population was turned out of their land. How many were pushed out at the point of swords and spears, their moans and groans reaching the skies. About 3,000 families were deported from Jolfa, and many drowned while attempting to cross the Aras. After the deportation was completed, the town was destroyed by fire to prevent the inhabitants from returning. The deportees were taken to an area near Isfahan in Persia, now Iran, where a new town, New Jolfa, was established. New Jolfa is now a district of Isfahan, and is the modern-day center of the Iranian Armenian population in Iran. In 1606, a second deportation was made of inhabitants that had escaped the first deportation. In the 17th century, a small settlement was founded amid the ruins of the destroyed town, which, in 1747, became part of the Iranian Nakhchivan administrative division within Qajar, Iran. At the start of the 19th century, the settlement moved to a new location 3 kilometers to the east of the historical town, at the point where the Olinja River flows into the Aras. Following the Russo-Persian War of 1826-28 and the resulting Treaty of Turkmenchay in 1828, the village of Jolfa became the official border crossing between Persia and Russia, as the former was forced to cede its last remaining Caucasian territories, containing state customs services, a garrison, and post office. The town became part of the Armenian Oblast from 1840 to 1847, and then part of the Yerevan gubernia of the Russian Empire between 1847 and 1917. According to the Russian Empire census in 1897, Jolfa was a village with a population of 763, of which 751 were Armenians. Following the Russian Revolution, between 1918 and 1920, Jolfa was the subject of a territorial dispute between the Democratic Republic of Armenia and the Azerbaijan Democratic Republic. As a result of the Treaty of Kars, it became part of the Nakhchivan Autonomous Soviet Socialist Republic under the Azerbaijan SSR. The Persian corridor ran through Jolfa during World War II, bringing supplies from other allied nations into the Soviet Union. During the conflict between Azerbaijan and Armenia over the status of Nagorno-Karabakh from 1988 to 1994, the remaining Armenian population, which had been slowly declining due to emigration during the Soviet era, was either evacuated or was forcibly deported to Armenia. At the beginning of the 20th century, the remains of the medieval settlement included a massive ruined bridge, 2 large caravanserais, one on the Iranian side of the border, the walls of a fortress, and several Armenian churches. The most notable remnant from Old Jolfa was the town's huge Armenian cemetery, located to the west of the ruined city, on 3 low hills divided by small valleys. It contained the largest surviving collection of Armenian Kashgar tombstones, most dating to the 15th and 16th centuries. One of the earliest references to the site is that of the French Jesuit missionary Alexander de Rhodes, who wrote that during his visit in 1648 he saw over 10,000 tombstones. However, a large number of the stones were destroyed during the construction of the railway line to Jolfa early in the 20th century. In the 1970s, according to Azerbaijan's investigations at the cemetery from 1971 to 1973, there were, either upright or fallen, 462 Khachkars on the first cemetery hill, 1,672 Khachkars on the second, and 573 on the third. In addition to these Khachkars, there were in the same cemetery more than 1,000 ram-shaped, gabled, or flat tombstones. An additional 250 Khachkars were counted in the cemetery of the nearby Amanatokich monastery and in other parts of the city site. The number of Khachkars and ram-shaped tombstones buried in the earth or in fragments, in the main cemetery and elsewhere, was estimated to be more than 1,400. Between 1998 and 2006, the entire cemetery was destroyed. The various stages of the destruction process were documented by photographic and video evidence taken from the Iranian side of the border. However, the government and state officials of Azerbaijan have denied that any destruction has taken place, stating that an Armenian cemetery never existed on the site and that Armenians have never lived in Jolfa. Azerbaijan has, to date, refused to allow investigators access to the site. The European Parliament formally called on Azerbaijan to stop the demolition as a breach of the UNESCO World Heritage Convention. According to its resolution regarding cultural monuments in the South Caucasus, the European Parliament condemns strongly the destruction of the Julfa cemetery as well as the destruction of all sites of historical importance that has taken place on Armenian or Azerbaijani territory, and condemns any such action that seeks to destroy cultural heritage. In 2006, Azerbaijan barred the European Parliament from inspecting and examining the ancient site, stating that by passing the previously mentioned resolution, the Parliament had committed a hostile act against Azerbaijan. The Institute for War and Peace reported on April 19, 2006 that there is nothing left of the celebrated stone crosses of Jugha. After several more postponed visits, a renewed attempt was planned by Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe, PACE, inspectors for August 29 to September 6, 2007, led by British MP Edward O'Hara. As well as Nakhchivan, the delegation would visit Baku, Yerevan, Tbilisi, and Nagorno-Karabakh. The inspectors planned to visit Nagorno-Karabakh via Armenia, and had arranged transport to facilitate this. However, on August 28, the head of the Azerbaijani delegation to PACE released a demand that the inspectors must enter Nagorno-Karabakh via Azerbaijan. On August 29, PACE Secretary General Mateo Sarinas announced that the visit had to be cancelled because of the difficulty in accessing Nagorno-Karabakh using the route required by Azerbaijan. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Armenia issued a statement saying that Azerbaijan had stopped the visit due solely to their intent to veil the demolition of Armenian monuments in Nakhchivan. The sudden and dramatic downfall of Old Jolfa in the 17th century made a deep and lasting impression on Armenian society and culture. During the 19th century, poets such as Hovhannes and historians such as Gevin Alishan produced works based on the event. The emotions raised as a result of the destruction of the graveyard in 2006 indicates that the fate of Jolfa still resonates within contemporary Armenian society. Jolfa, Azerbaijan, city, @ Geonek name server.